When I pulled into the driveway that night, the house looked wrong. Too quiet. Too clean. The kind of quiet that doesn't belong to a home, but to a memory of one. I stepped inside. The lights were off except for the kitchen, where her grandfather sat alone at the table, sipping tea like he'd been expecting me. His eyes lifted slowly when he saw me. Calm. Heavy. He nodded toward the chair across from him. "Sit," he said. I didn't. I was still looking around, at the missing suitcases, the absent coats, the empty hooks by the door. Then my phone buzzed. A message from her. "We took a trip. With my ex. Used the money you saved for us. Don't wait up." No punctuation. Just clean cruelty. The world tilted for a second. I remember the sound of the fridge humming, the smell of old wood and peppermint tea. Everything ordinary, except my pulse. Her grandfather didn't look surprised. He just said quietly, "They'll pay it back, sooner than they think." That was 24 hours ago. We'd been together 7 years, married for 2. I used to believe she loved me, not for what I could give, but for how I looked at her, the way I listened, the way I dreamed out loud and always included her name in it. Turns out, she loved the dream, just not the dreamer. She'd been distant lately. New perfume, late calls, laughter behind closed doors. I'd told myself it was work stress, that people drift, but drift back. What a fool I was to confuse distance with loyalty. I'd been saving for us, down payment, new house, maybe a family. She knew every number, every password. I never hid a thing. But she did. The night before Christmas Eve, she told me she had to visit her parents for a few days. I didn't question it. She kissed my cheek like it meant something and left before dawn. By evening, her phone went straight to voicemail. I didn't panic. I waited. Then came the message, the one that tore the breath out of me. That's when I realized what her grandfather had meant, and why he'd looked at me with that peculiar stillness. He wasn't surprised. He was waiting for me to catch up. He slid an envelope across the table. "Take it," he said. Inside were copies of bank statements, transfers, every digital trail from my account to hers, and then to someone else's. Her ex. The same man she swore she'd blocked years ago. "I warned her once," the old man said. "Told her there are debts that don't involve money." He leaned back, eyes half shut. "You can let the law handle it, or you can handle it the way she taught you to, with lies." I didn't answer, but I didn't need to. That night, I opened my laptop. 3 hours later, I knew everything. Their flight, their hotel, their shared pictures posted under fake names. The account she used to move the money. I didn't shout, didn't call. I just smiled. Because I'd been preparing for something like this long before she ever betrayed me. See, she thought she'd emptied my savings, but she only touched what I let her see. The real money, the real account, was elsewhere, untouched, waiting. And I'd been recording, quietly, methodically, every lie she ever told me. Every message, every transaction, every whispered phone call at night. When you live with someone who hides shadows in their smile, you learn to keep a light nearby. By dawn, I had everything in motion. I filed a fraud report using her own trail, then sent anonymous tips to her company, her ex's business partners, and the hotel they were staying in, each with proof. Names, screenshots, dates, the kind of evidence that doesn't just ruin reputations, it ends them. Then I booked a flight, same destination, same hotel. Not to confront her, but to collect what was mine. When I arrived, I didn't knock on their door. I went to the front desk. She'd checked in under her maiden name, with my card. I smiled at the irony as I canceled it right there. A few minutes later, her ex came down to the lobby, arguing with staff, holding a useless room key. I watched him from the bar. He looked smaller than I remembered. Panicked, broke, cornered. Her name was shouted a few times, but she didn't appear. I already knew why. The police arrived before the hour was over. Fraud, stolen funds, the works. Turns out her ex had a warrant in another state, unpaid debts, and tax evasion. My report had been detailed enough to trigger an alert. She was questioned, he was arrested. And I simply walked out, leaving my untouched drink behind. By Christmas morning, the story was everywhere. Two lovers caught in a web of theft and deceit. Their photos leaked, their accounts frozen. Her company terminated her effectively immediately. Her grandfather called that night. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just said, "Sometimes the hardest part of love is watching them ruin themselves." I didn't reply. I was sitting by the fire, the last of her things boxed and labeled for donation. A week later, she came back. Tear-streaked, hollow, pretending she didn't know I'd been the one to pull every string. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "No," I said. "You made a choice." Her eyes darted around the room, looking for sympathy, for the man who used to protect her from everything. But I wasn't him anymore. That man died the night she sent that text. I handed her an envelope, divorce papers, everything already signed. The house, the car, the accounts, all clean, all legal, all mine. She'd taught me how to lie. I just learned faster. Before she left, she turned to me. "You ruined me." I looked at her, at the woman I once built my life around, and said quietly, "No, you did." I just turned on the lights. Now, every Christmas, I drive past that old house. Sometimes her grandfather's sitting by the window, still watching the snow. He raises his cup when he sees me, a silent salute. He was right. They paid it back, sooner than they thought. And me? I finally got what I saved for. Peace.